Let's take the views of the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karewe, who is lauding the initiative, saying it could cut down smuggling to and from the two countries. He tells Joy Business Ghana and the Ivory Coast can also extend to a joint production agreement to enhance production and impact prices.
Two countries, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, they are the two major producing countries in the world in terms of cocoa. So they are supposed to be controlling the cocoa market. Unfortunately, that is not the case. The pricing is determined by someone somewhere. Now, it is important that the two countries and other countries come together to give a common price. Now, the common price could be two. One, the price in Cote d'Ivoire and the price in Ghana. If the price in Cote d'Ivoire and the price in Ghana is the same, then certainly it will discourage smuggling from each country. We often hear that cocoa is smuggled into Cote d'Ivoire because the price in Cote d'Ivoire is higher. And another time you hear that cocoa is being smuggled into Ghana because the price in Ghana is higher. So the two countries need to actually collaborate and find common grounds. Certainly their collaboration cannot resolve all the challenges, but it will reduce those challenges. And I think that is in order that the two countries are collaborating, not only in pricing, but even production experiences and so on. And also, the most important thing is to collaborate to be able to deal with the international market, because we need to control the marketing of cocoa, but unfortunately, it's being determined by somebody else. It's just because we are divided. So if producing countries, particularly Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire and other West African producers and other producers somewhere come together, then they will be able to dictate to a large extent the price for cocoa in the global market, because it has to do with demand and supply. And in this case, the two countries who are the major suppliers in the global market could constrain supply, release little of their cocoa into the market, and therefore demand will go up, and then store the rest or process the rest.
All right, so let's bring you what pertained at the conference in Abidjan, La Côte d'Ivoire, where Ghana and Ivory Coast signed the agreement for a joint standardization enhancement program.
So today in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, the two cocoa marketing or cocoa regulators have met and agreed on having a common standard with respect to exporting their beans to Europe and other countries. What has stated this was that most of the buyers came forward with their own standards and what they want to buy the beans from these two respective countries, that is Ghana and then Ivory Coast. But these two regulators, that is Cocoa Board and their counterparts in Ivory Coast, believe that they should work out their own standards in line with ISO with respect to how these beans should be measured and agreed upon when it comes to exporting them. So today they finalized the agreement that they are working towards agreeing or having a common standard for beans that are exported out of Ghana and then Ivory Coast. One would say that this could go a long way to influence or impact on the price of beans exported from Ghana and then Ivory Coast. So good news for farmers in Ghana, good news for farmers in Ivory Coast with respect to these common standards that the two countries have agreed when it comes to export of cocoa beans from these two countries. Good news for farmers, some would say. From Abidjan in Ivory Coast, this is George reporting for Joy Business.
All right, so the joint agreement was actually finalized in Ivory Coast yesterday. We'll bring you some more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Now, be prepared to pay more for your breakfast if bread or any pastry constitutes a part of it. This is because flour users in Ashanti region have served notice they will increase prices of their products by 1 cedi across board. They say rising prices of flour and other ingredients is a result of the depreciation of the cedi has informed the decision. Nana Yajima has more in this report.
Late February, President Akufo-Addo, at the opening of a factory in Accra, assured efforts are being made to stabilize the local currency.
I'm aware of the anxiety there is in business circles and through the population about the recent depreciation of the cedi. I am extremely upset and anxious about it too. But I want to assure you that all efforts are being made to arrest the decline and restore the cedi to stability in order to improve the competitiveness.
Though similar assurances had come from the government over the years, real stabilization continues to elude the economy. Fanti New Town, the bakery hub of Kumasi. Almost every home here has a bakery, employing at least 20 people. Business has for over a year now been tough, some on the verge of collapse due to increase in prices of ingredients without corresponding rise in unit price of bread. Some bakers share their sentiments.
We want to inform the public the proposed increase is not our making. The market has forced us to do so. Our profit margins have dropped significantly. We are unable to break even sometimes. Therefore, the need for increase. We will have to add more money to our capital before we are able to buy the ingredients. We are pleading with the government to come to our aid, stabilize the dollar so we can run our businesses effectively.
A loaf of bread has sold for between 2 cedis and 5 cedis for over 5 years now. A casual market survey reveals 50-kilogram bag of flour sells between 153 cedis and 157 cedis, depending on the brand. The average price in November last year was 110 cedis. For a 20-kilogram bucket of margarine, the prices range between 99 cedis and 103 cedis. Bakers say they have had to reduce the size of bread to stay in business. This, they say, is no longer sustainable. Nana Esuman is secretary of Flour Users Association.
The 2 cedis is going by 1 cedi. The weight for previous 2 cedis will add a lot to it. That's why it's going for 5 cedis. The 5 cedis should be maintained, the weight? Yes. Because we have done it before. Before, the prices of bread is not like what we are selling today. So once they have increased it, public also will understand.
Bread hawking has become a profitable venture in recent times for both males and females. Some hawkers say consumers are already raising concerns about the shrinking size of various prices.
Even getting change for people will be a challenge. Our business will surely go down. Already, prices of stuff for breakfast are high, and people will have to deal with the new bread prices as well.
Many hawkers are envisaging low sales when the new price takes effect, therefore considering switching from the sale of bread to sale of other items on these same streets. From Kumasi for JoyNews, Nana Ojima reporting.
Meanwhile, some bakers in Accra have also supported the decision to increase prices of bread and pastries. Our Better BCU has been speaking with some bakers here in Accra and says the cedi's depreciation is a major contributory factor.
The loaf of bread you buy for 5 cedis may soon increase to 6 cedis. Bread dealers in Accra are expecting price increases from Monday. According to some bakers, the increase is very obvious since most of the ingredients used in production have increased as a result of the cedi's depreciation. Some bakers at Kotobabi, a suburb of Accra, say prices of ingredients like margarine, flour, sugar, firewood and yeast have all gone up.
I have increased my bread because flour has also been increased. They said the wheat we use in baking the bread is imported. Therefore, the cedi depreciation has affected the import of wheat. After it has been processed into flour at Tema, they increase it as well. Though the other ingredients are being increased, it doesn't cause an increase in the price of bread until flour is increased. I use cooked margarine, which is imported. It has also been increased, but we bear the cost of the other ingredients.
Emilia Maika is the owner of Baby's Bakery at Kotobabi. She maintains she'll have to observe the market critically first to make any changes to either the price or size of the bread.
Before I increase, I'll speak to the customers first. Oh, this is how products has been increased, so I'm going to increase mine from this to that. Or even if not the increased, I'm going to reduce the size of the bread. Butter, sugar, brown, and tea bread. So either reducing the size or increasing the price of the bread, whichever one is okay with them. In no time, prices are going to change, and also sizes are going to change.
Another bread wholesaler, Ladia Nada, lamented customers complain a lot about the size, and this has affected her business.
The increase in the price of flour has affected the size of bread, and people are not willing to buy anymore. Some even complain about the size. But you see, that is not our fault. If the market is good, I can sell between 30 to 40 loaves of bread. But now I have reduced the quantity as a result of the increase.
We are also banya bise 20 Ghana bi was so and I say 15 Ghana bi we chire na we yibe to do enadi. They said o ma tumunu meji 25 ba kwa 25. Nta no de okoton wi a shi bia and that. Cost 25 na so.
They are appealing to government to help reduce cost of flour to facilitate the growth of their business. Some are even threatening to demonstrate if government does not intervene. Albert Abisiu's report for Joy Business.
All right, so there's no doubt that the increase in prices of bread are indirectly dependent on the cedi's depreciation, and that's why the General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karowe, says it is time for Ghana to consider other locally grown grains as alternatives to produce flour. He said Ghana's climate does not support viable wheat production, and the only way to cut down on imported wheat is to use other alternatives.
Wheat is coming from the climate regions, zones, and Ghana is not a temperate zone. So you can see that wheat can be grown, but we need to do much more to be able to change the weather to produce it productively. When I say productively, is to mean to say that the cost of producing the wheat should not be far, far higher than the cost of importing the wheat. All those things have to be looked at, but as it stands now, we don't produce wheat in Ghana. It's mainly imported. So if we have to produce wheat, then we have to look at the climate and we have to change our agronomic measures to be able to contain the wheat. But until that is done, we have to continue to depend on imports. When it comes to production, it depends on choices. And the choices are informed by so many factors. One of them will be economic, some of them will be political. If you ask, is wheat so key to this country such that at all costs we must produce it in this country, or we can choose not to produce it and then the import. It also has to do with comparative cost advantage. You know, is it easier to produce wheat in Ghana? If it is not, then we better not produce it here and rather import it. Unless we are able to use the planting for food and jobs to look for an alternative, crop like maize, like rice, and any other crop, which can take the place of wheat, so that instead of depending so much on wheat for our bread, we can now depend, say, for instance, maize, which will still give us the same flavor like wheat bread, gives us the same nutrition like wheat bread, and then give us even the same color. Color is also important to consumers. So we need to sit back and look at all these things until we are able to find this alternative. Then certainly we have to continue to import wheat and then be ready to pay the high price.
So indeed, it's a major problem, but currently we have our correspondent, Western Regional correspondent in Natalia Kwanza via Skype, who is speaking with some producers of flour, specifically the Takoradi flour mill, to get some of the challenges they are facing. Natalia, good afternoon, welcome to the marketplace.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
All right, so you've been to Takoradi flour mill. What exactly have they been saying with regards to the challenges in producing flour?
Exactly, Emmanuel. So I met Kessie Oche, the populations of it, and he tells me that business now is not good for them as it used to be. He tells me the same thing happened about 2 years ago, and this means mainly has got to do with the depreciation of the cedi. He walked me through. I think yesterday it was 5.4, but today they went and it was 5.5. So that is affecting their business. We also talk about the wheat. The wheat is not gotten from Ghana, it's gotten outside Ghana, such as Canada. So importing it here is very expensive. And he tells me that looking at the way things are, if the finance minister said we should give 2 weeks so that the cedi will be good enough, that means we should calculate about 50 pesos increase each day, which for them is a huge money. And it's really going to affect their business, but they are hoping for this.
Now, so did they say that they don't have any, raw material source from Ghana or local raw material sources apart from importing them from Canada?
Yes, Emmanuel. I asked him whether they can get some raw materials in Ghana, and he said no. They always have to import their materials.
Now, apart from the cedi depreciation, are they also facing some competition from international companies here in Ghana?
So I asked him if he can tell us how much they will have to buy this wheat. He tells me that currently they have 5 competitors here in the country, so we cannot disclose it. But as a matter of fact, people are buying the flour, even though they are facing these challenges. People are buying it, but afraid of the future.
So, in all, how much flour are they able to churn out, maybe within a week, for instance?
For that, he wasn't able to disclose. He said because of competition, he wouldn't tell us. But all he could say is they churn out a lot of flour in a week. When I went, I saw some cars loading some flours.
All right. So the problem is not about the shortage, but because of the cedi's depreciation.
Sure, Emmanuel.
Many thanks for your time. Natalia Kwansa is our correspondent from the Western region. She's been talking to some officials of the Takoradi flour mill on challenges they are facing with regards to flour production for bread manufacturing. Away from that, let's hear some facts or see some facts about how wheat is imported in Ghana. All right, so those were some facts indicating that indeed, as a country, we spend so much importing wheat into for bread production here locally. Now, some small-scale importers in Kumasi are angry over what they say is the negative impact of high duties and the depreciation of the local currency on their businesses. The agitators, most of them who bring in goods from neighboring countries, also allege harassment on the highways by customs and other security personnel. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah was there in our reports.
Nana Osuajman says the importers have drawn attention of relevant authorities without any response.
We are now pleading on our listening government, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Dankwa, to reduce high import values. Also, to use the original invoices that we use to buy goods at our various points of sales to write duty for us. Also, to work on the fast cedi depreciation. Also, to stop the use of US dollar to write duty on the goods which we bought with CIF or CIFA for us. The last but not the least, to eliminate all illegal barriers and set points with immediate effect. Our calls are not going through, especially the phone numbers we provided to them at our first engagement. When we use unknown numbers to call them, at the end of the calls, When we use unknown numbers to call them, they end our calls. And when we follow up and get to know it is us, they also hang up on us.
Meanwhile, the two associations say
the solution to the development of mining communities after more than 100 years of mining in the country is the implementation of the Mineral Development Fund Act. This is the verdict from the Ghana Chamber of Mines. As government has failed to implement the Act on Minerals Development, the Minerals Development Fund Bill was passed into law 2 years ago to set up a fund to be used to develop mining communities that are directly impacted. Now, Chief Executive of the Chamber, Suleiman Koni, has been speaking to Joy Business.
There's a huge gap. There's a huge gap which we actually identified as part of the interactions we've had over the last 2 days. And the way out is to operationalize the law. Once you operationalize the law, we should be able to see some progress. Yes, we have issues with the law itself, but we believe that we should allow the law to run for a number of years, and then we'll do a kind of benchmarking regarding its effectiveness compared to other legislations, and then see how best we can actually, work with government to have it tweaked to make sure that it's even more effective. Because what we want to see is how we can use the mining industry to develop the local economy. We generally would have lots of problems. We certainly have so many problems regarding, the look of Obuasi, the look of.
And here we end this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace with me, Emmanuel Abuaji. Thank you very much for being with me. Let's meet again, same time tomorrow. Have a good afternoon.